Hey, this is Shaun with the GoTennis podcast, powered by Signature Tennis. Check out our calendar at Metro Atlanta tennis events at letsgotennis.com. And if you're a fan of Bull Shark Sports, go to shop.letsgotennis.com. Get yourself a hoodie or a hat. In this episode, being right before Christmas, it is a great time to look for our holiday sales for those Bull Shark Sports hoodies with Santa hats, as well as what we're going to talk about today. And today is Youth Sports Talk with Coach Ben Hesley. Coach Ben wants to talk about giving functional gifts to the kids, and he has a few ideas. Ben, you ready to talk youth sports?
Yeah, this will be a fun one, and I hope it's gonna help tidy up those Christmas and holiday gift lists.
Exactly. And today, Ben wants to talk about the gift giving for tennis specifically, right, Ben? Where do you want to start?
So just thought we'd take a moment on the show that usually we talk about coaching tips, sports tips, how to make your kid a better athlete, those sorts of things, and it kind of goes along with that. But since we're getting to the holiday season, let's make an episode out of gift giving and or gift guide, I should say. So today's day will be our holiday gift guide towards tennis players. So let's start with one of my favorites, and we'll just kind of go down some lists. I have the Topspin Pro. So the Topspin Pro is something I've really enjoyed using over the last couple, 3, 4 years actually, with players. But I also use it at home as well. So, and all of these things we're going to bring up today, Shaun, and we'll talk about have to do with not necessarily something a coach may use in a lesson or practice, but something that the players can use at their home or on their own time to help them be a better player. So let's talk about the Topspin Pro. One of the things I love about the Topspin Pro, and there are other kind of training aids. It's basically a tee where the ball stays on the tee. But the thing I like most about it is it has these blades. It has a blade that's above the ball and below the ball. It kind of helps you create that upward path and really prevents the player from rolling over the top of the ball, which we wouldn't want because if you transition that to the court, if you're rolling over the ball, it's obviously going to go down into the net. It really the blades force that upward motion that you're looking for in hitting a topspin shot. So that's why I like it the most.
Yeah, it's a good one. We've got it in the shop at letsgotennis.com. Just a little plug there. And it's about $150.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of thing that really just could be used. Stick it in the garage, let the kid hit it a little bit. You can go back and forth, forehand, backhand. You can use it as a training tool. And like you said, I think you've used it on court a few different times as a station potentially. We've seen the promotions as to how they say you can use this, but really for 150 bucks, really kind of a great thing to help a tennis player, a young developing tennis player, or an adult that says, "Hey, wait a minute, this is what my coach means by low to high."
Yeah. Yeah, if you're going to look into those, I know there's lots of them out there. There's all the hitting tees that have the ball on it that moves but doesn't actually come off like a baseball tee.
Mhm.
There's the one that you hit and on the rubber band that bounces and comes back, and that one's fine. But if you
The
really look
ball on a
at
string.
Yeah, exactly. And you're looking to improve your topspin ground strokes. The Topspin Pro is surely your best bet. It also comes in a bag, so it has a bag. So if you want to take it with you, like you mentioned on the court, bring it with you. It quickly sets up. It's super easy, and you can get a few swings in before you actually go on court and hit real balls in your practice or your match.
And I'm glad you mentioned the bag because some of these products I look up and I say, oh my gosh, it's just a hula hoop glued to a broomstick, right? And some of them are just kind of silly. And why am I paying $130 for something like that? But the ones that we're going to talk about today specifically have nice breakdown and travel ability. The next one we get to, so the Topspin Pro in that case, it travels well. It's easy to take with
Yeah.
you. It's not some clunky thing you've got to carry around. But the next one, I know we want to talk about the fast track, and maybe that was the next one. Maybe I'm skipping ahead, but the fast track being a net that you aim and hit into. It's almost like a carnival game system, something you'd see at Dave and Buster's. But it pops out a ball and you hit it in the net, and pops out a ball and you hit it in the net. But my favorite thing about it happens to be our best selling item right now. But my favorite part about it is how it breaks down into two simple carry bags. The thing's pretty big. It's basically got a ball machine attached to it, and it breaks down into two easy bags. It's really nice.
Yeah, you could take it anywhere you wanted to. And I love that one too. I don't have one myself, But at the Go Tennis Fall Festival, I got a chance to try it out, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And it's something that it would, I would say, takes a fair amount of space. Not a small space like the Topson Pro. You just do it in your bedroom, but takes a fair amount of space because the net's pretty big. It spits the ball out, so you want to be several feet back so you can have time for the ball to bounce and you hit it into the net. But like you said, you can just hit it into the net, but then you also have these games that it comes with. It has targets you can hang. It has an app system that you can download the app and play games or for target training and things like that. So it's a really cool product, and it's right there. You do it in your driveway. You can do it in your basement. Fun for the whole family. The thing I liked about it, and I did it myself, but I watched other kids. I mean, we had kids that were 6 years old, 16 years old, variety of levels, and everybody can use. So it's something not just for the junior tennis player, but something the whole family can use.
The adults actually really are the target, excuse me. Talking to John, the founder and creator of this thing, it really is just the social tennis player that would love it. I could probably fit the thing in my garage if I took the cars out. You could probably be better suited to put it in a driveway if it's flat, or a backyard if you've got some space, something to have it bounce on. But it's pretty cool, and the kids are gonna love it because, again, it's just like throwing the beanbag into the clown's mouth. It's just something fun they can do, and it just keeps going infinitely. So if you're not worn out after 8 or 10 minutes of doing this, you're pretty fit. So Ben, what's the next one we want to talk about? It was the Saber, right? That was one you wanted to mention.
Saber. Yeah, so this was intriguing to me. I got this from you. First of all, first right out of the gate, I'll say sticker shock. It's a little seems a little pricey for a smaller tennis racket. It's about 170 bucks, but really, really good for skill development. I think about my baseball coaching experience, and we use what we call skinny bats. So we use smaller. The barrel size is really trimmed down compared to what the game bat the kid would use, and it really helps the bat to ball skills, the hand-eye coordination. And so same concept here I see taken to tennis. And I think the head size on this thing is like 37 inches. I mean, that's super small. I mean, think about most players are playing with around a 100 square inch racket. Shrink that way down, and it's just going to do, and it looks like a real racket. That's the other cool thing about it. And we've had paddles and things like that in the past that we've used, but this thing is a real racket, really strong, graphite material, same, and that's probably why it's 170 bucks. I mean, it's the same material as your real racket. You're just trimming it down, and I gotta think it's gonna feel like the regular racket, just a lot smaller, and just gonna dial in what Wayne Bryan likes to call clean hits. He was always big with Bob and Mike on how many clean hits can you hit, and this Saber seems to really, really help players with that.
I've heard good things. I personally have not had a chance to hit with one, but seeing the videos is fun. You watch somebody like Stan Wawrinka hitting the backhand, and it's just as though he's got a full size racket. It makes you realize how good some players really are to just hit the middle of the strings every time, and to see how it'd be interesting to watch the development. Say I've got my 7-year-old, I want to hit with it. They do have a junior version to
Yeah,
have the
that's right.
smaller one, but to mention your point to cost, it is a high level quality racket that you're buying. It isn't just, the original one I think was a wooden spoon. And at
Yeah.
that point you're like, all right, how expensive can this thing be? But in this case, it really is a high quality racket with high quality strings in it as well.
Yeah, and it does come strong. So
Yeah.
mention that it does come already strong. And if you ever need to restring it, you can also buy additional string if you need to restring the racket as well. But yeah, it does come in three different sizes. And the junior size is, I think, a couple inches shorter as well. So it does feel and play like a junior size racket. I think this is great. I've always said that the junior rackets on the market are way too big. And I think even players in general, you go in, you're like, hey, I'm a beginner player. You go into the pro shop, you buy the massive snowshoe racket because, I mean, you could hit the ball blindfolded with it.
Uh-huh.
But it doesn't really service you well down the road in terms of development. I like people to use a smaller racket, smaller head sizes, and that's going to help them because you're going to dial it in. You're going to lock it in, and you're going to find a way to match the racket to the ball. And the smaller that area is, the the better you're going to become down the road. So I'm a big fan of practicing with smaller equipment. In this case, a smaller head size. It's just going to help your racket to ball skills.
Agreed. And I want to bring a movie back to our attention before we let this concept go. And we want to go back to Rocky 4 again and remind ourselves that yes, you can have all the best technology in the world. Because if you go to our shop and you see we've got the baseline vision and it's got magic cameras that can see what's going on and make line calls. You can buy one of the robots that'll go pick up balls. You can buy a magic ball machine that'll move and it drives itself around. It's powered by AI. You can buy all this cool equipment and you can buy the Top Spin Pro and practice your top spin and then have the fast track system. Use the saber to hit into the fast track. You can get all
There you
this
go.
stuff, but it isn't something that's going to replace hard work, sweat equity, running the stairs, doing your pull-ups, and actually just going out and hitting balls. So it isn't necessary. If you don't have the extra cash to buy something for the kids, I get it. You've got a simpler version with is just find yourself a tennis net and some tennis balls and be able to play, right?
Yeah, and these aren't magic pills. You're going to have to. And my first caution would be make sure you're actually going to use it. Right? I've seen so many driving nets, golf driving nets that are just got leaves and dust and cobwebs on them because
Mm-hmm.
you bought it, you think you're going to do all this and you never use it. So but these are things that you don't need to use for a long period of time. The Topspin Pro, the Saber, you probably bring out, warm up with it, doing mini tennis, doing volleys, maybe a couple from the baseline, and then you go to your regular racket. Fast track system, you come out, like you said, I mean, 8 to 10 minutes, man, you're sweating because that little ball machine that spits out, it's constant, it's
Doesn't
continuous.
stop.
So, I mean, 8, 10 minutes, you're done. And that's really all you need. And the benefit of having this equipment at your house is that you can just, hey, 5, 10 minutes, boom, I'm gonna, excuse me, I'm gonna go knock out some forehands and backhands, right? I don't have to drive all the way down to the club, pull out the ball machine, or call up Shaun, hey, can you go hit today? Whatever. I can practice 10 minutes on my own. But if you don't want to spend all that, or you feel like maybe you're not going to use this equipment, something that really came out of COVID, I mean, the nets, mini nets, pickleball nets, mini tennis nets were flying off the proverbial shelf during the pandemic. So some people may have them, but a great thing to have at your house, especially if you have kids, is just a mini net, small net, tennis net, and some foam balls. I like the foam balls because you can play the foam balls. If it bangs off the garage door, it's not going to dent the aluminum door like a real tennis ball might. Hit a window, it's going to be fine. You can play indoors if you're playing in the driveway, or sorry, if you're playing in your basement or your garage and the foam ball hits something, it's not going to hurt it. So foam balls are great training aids. And then also the net itself is pretty good. Now on the net, my recommendation is the 10-foot net. I don't really care what brand you get, but the 10-foot width is more ideal for most driveways and garages and basements than the 18-foot net you would see a coach use out on a court.
Yeah, because we're not trying to cover the whole court. We're not trying to play some official 8 and under match. It doesn't matter in that case. What it is I mean, half of the quick start point of view was they'd run tape and just try to hit the ball over the tape. But in this case, you can get one for $40 to $50 and get a 10-foot net. Again, comes in a nice little carry bag. It breaks down. You can take it on vacation, stick it on the beach if you want. And it's like I said, 40, $50, something like that. A bag of balls actually more expensive than they used to be. So the tennis balls might cost you more if you're looking at getting
You
a,
need
a
you need two
bag.
or three guys. You don't need a whole bunch.
Right,
I've even learned that in my own coaching. Why do I have 200 balls? Like we
right.
don't even use 200. We don't use. I mean, each kid uses three or four. If you miss it, I don't want to get them down a rabbit hole. But most kids, if they don't know any better, if they miss a ball, they'll just run go get that ball.
The first
Whereas
timer
it's
always goes and runs and gets it. Yep.
yeah, when we got a couple kids in our program that are hoarders. You have to remind them like, hey, this is for everybody, not just you. They
Let it go,
flip
Elsa.
over. The kid's got Kid's got this happened to me the other day. I look over, a kid's got like a stack of 12 red balls. He's pyramided up, in case I'm like, that's not the point, right? So anyways, yeah, I mean, a bag of 3 sleeve of foam balls, a 10-foot net, and you're pretty set. No matter your level, no matter what your level is, learning those touch skills, more touches on the ball, the better you improve your hand-eye coordination between the racket and the ball. It's just going to make you a better player in any arena.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, if you've got $1, if you got a friend with an old orange dot ball or a red dot ball, borrow the ball, get a tennis racket, put the kid in the driveway, aim him to the garage door. Now I'm just reminiscing to my own childhood, which is hit up against the garage door, bang, bang, bang. That now we need a wall. We need hitting walls everywhere. That's my new goal, hitting walls for everybody. But just the garage door, bang, bang, bang. No net required. Just hit the ball. So in this case, I think we're just saying, Ben, if we were to wrap it up, get them something that they're going to go play with. Maybe not another iPad.
Yeah, I agree. We mentioned this in a prior episode about does better equipment make you a better player? We got talking about the training aids and stuff, and you mentioned about Rocky 4, the example that we use in that episode. So regardless of whether you do, regardless if you're going to get the brand spanking new Saber or you're going to drive down to Play It Again Sports and see what they have to offer, get your kids something this holiday season that they can use to make them a better tennis player and a better overall athlete. They don't need another game. They don't need another, Switch game or Xbox game or whatever. Get them something that's going to help them and they're going to enjoy. And these are what we've mentioned today: the Topspin Pro, the Saber, the Fast Track system. They're fun and cool toys, and we think they can help you. So, but there's always other options. But just think about that in terms, and I hope this helps today. Gift giving ideas for your junior tennis player.
Love it. Thank you, sir. This has been Youth Sports Talk with Coach Ben Hestley. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
All right. Happy holidays, everybody.